Welcome to the AI Room. In this series, we're going beyond the hype to give you a clear, practical understanding of how artificial intelligence is reshaping our world. We'll explore the technology, its applications, and what it means for you. When you hear artificial intelligence, what comes to mind? A thinking machine? A conscious entity? The reality is more nuanced. AI, especially the large language models you hear so much about, doesn't language the way humans do. It doesn't grasp meaning, context, or intent. Instead, it does something else entirely. It predicts. So let's pull back the curtain and demystify how these powerful tools actually work. Interact with a modern chatbot, and the experience can be uncanny. It can write poetry, explain complex topics, and even seem to express emotion. It feels like there's a thinking, feeling mind on the other side. But this is a sophisticated illusion. There's no consciousness, no self-awareness, and no genuine intent. What you're witnessing is just extremely advanced pattern recognition, operating on a massive scale. When you type a prompt, the model isn't thinking about your question. It's calculating the most statistically likely sequence of words to follow, based on the trillions of examples it has studied. It predicts the next word, then the next, and the next, stringing them together to form a coherent response. It can feel remarkably human. That's a powerful and sometimes misleading illusion. So, what makes modern models so powerful? It comes down to scale. More data than all the books in the world, more complex internal connections or parameters, and more raw computing power than ever before. To truly grasp this, we need to break it down. Here's how it all fits together. Part 1, training. Part 2, prediction. Part 3, attention. Part 4, scale. Part 5, limits. Then, the bottom line. At their core, large language models begin their journey by training on truly massive datasets of text. We're talking about a digital library that dwarfs any physical collection on Earth, encompassing a vast portion of the public internet, countless books, scientific papers, and more. Through this immense volume of information, they learn the intricate patterns between words, phrases, and ideas. But here's a crucial distinction. From all that data, the model doesn't learn what words in the way a human does. It doesn't have memories, senses, or emotions tied to language. Instead, it learns how words fit together statistically. It becomes a master of patterns, a probability engine on a colossal scale. You can think of it as a superpowered parrot capable of mimicking complex language structures it has seen before, or, perhaps more accurately, an autocomplete function on steroids. It knows that if you say, "the sky is," the next word is very likely blue. This isn't because it has ever seen the sky or understands the concept of color. It's simply because, in its training data, the sequence, "the sky is blue," appeared millions of times more often than, say, "the sky is green." Humans connect words to a rich tapestry of lived experiences. When you hear the word dog, your brain might recall images, feelings of companionship, the sound of a bark, or even the smell of wet fur. For the AI, dog is just a point in a vast mathematical space, a concept defined purely by its statistical relationships to other words, like bark, leash, cat, and loyal. The entire training process is essentially a gigantic game of fill in the blank, repeated billions upon billions of times. The model is given a sentence with a word missing and has to predict the missing piece. Every wrong guess nudges its millions of internal parameters or weights to adjust its strategy. Every right guess reinforces the connections that led to the correct answer, strengthening those winning paths. Over time, this refines the model into an incredibly sophisticated pattern-matching machine. When you type a prompt, it's natural to think the model plans out a whole story, like a human author with an outline and an end goal. But that's not what happens. The model has no grand vision or long-term intention. It isn't thinking about plot twists or character arcs. In fact, its focus is incredibly narrow. At any given moment, it cares about one thing and one thing only: predicting the very next word. To do this, it considers its entire vocabulary, a dictionary of tens of thousands of words and word fragments called tokens. Based on the text it has so far, it calculates a probability score for every single one of them. For a story starting from scratch, maybe once has a high probability. In is a bit lower, and words that make no sense, like bicycle, are assigned a probability near 0. Now, here's a crucial detail. It doesn't always pick the top scoring word. A touch of controlled randomness, often called temperature, is introduced. This prevents the text from becoming predictable and repetitive, allowing for more creative and surprising outputs. So for our story, it picks once. The process immediately repeats. The model takes the updated text, once, and asks again, based on this new context, what's the most likely next word? Word by word, this simple loop grows into phrases, sentences, paragraphs, and eventually, entire stories. The remarkable coherence comes from this constant reevaluation of context. Each new word is statistically likely to follow the sequence that came before it. That's why after a sentence like, his kitchen was a mess, the probability for flower skyrockets, while jet ski plummets. It's a relentless chain reaction of pure mathematics that from the outside feels like the art of storytelling. The final result can be beautiful, insightful, and incredibly useful, but it's important to remember it's a performance, a sophisticated statistical echo of the vast library of human text it was trained on. Transformers introduced attention, a way to focus on the most relevant prior words. As it predicts the next word, it highlights the parts of context that matter most. Attention links was back to cat, not mouse or house, keeping grammar consistent. It maintains context across long stretches, names, details, references. Attention creates a dynamic map of relationships that updates word by word. It's not real understanding, but it's an amazing simulation. Modern gains come from brute force scale. More data, more parameters, more computing power. Bigger models get exponentially better. More data means more patterns, better writing, facts, styles, and niche topics. It's the difference between one encyclopedia and an entire national library. Parameters are tunable knobs, from millions to hundreds of billions, now even trillions. Training at this scale takes thousands of chips for weeks and huge budgets. Only a few players can do it. Models know probability, not absolute truth. They can sound authoritative and still be confidently wrong. This is called hallucination. They mirror the internet, biases included. Garbage in, garbage is often echoed out. Developers filter and guide, but bias is hard to eliminate completely. No goals, no beliefs, no feelings. When it says, "I'm happy to help," it's not actually feeling happiness. Always treat outputs as a starting point. Think, edit, and verify. Stop thinking of AI as who. Think of it as what, a tool, powerful, useful, and here to stay if we use it responsibly. The feeling of intelligence is an illusion, but the tool is real. We are in a new era. Learn the rules, pilot the machine. In the end, it's simple. AI doesn't think. It predicts so well that it often feels like thinking. Thanks for watching. Like, share, and subscribe for more.